Good evening, Zimbabwe. This is Change Radio News. Today is Tuesday, 14 October 2025. The news is read by Divine Nambira. Here are the news headlines. Senator Timba demands forensic audit over 3.2 billion looting allegations. Residents raise concerns over Mnangagwa's silence on Cheda Commission report, and men found dead in Matapi with missing flesh in suspected ritual killing. And now for the news in detail. Senator Timba is calling for a forensic audit following a leaked dossier alleging that over $3.2 billion was looted by certain business people connected to state assets and political influence. He says Zimbabweans deserve transparency, accountability, and justice. Timba is also urging the government to abandon the so-called 2030 agenda to extend the president's term, describing any attempt to change term limits without a referendum as unconstitutional. He warns that a government under clouds of corruption cannot seek more years in power and says the constitution exists to protect the people, not shield the powerful. Let's hear him as he speaks.
A leaked dossier now accuses a number of named business persons of looting nearly $3 billion and capturing state institutions. Zimbabweans have the right to know where their money went and who benefited. Before anyone speaks of extending power to 2030, the country must first recover what has been stolen. Power without accountability breeds corruption. Constitutional limits protect us all.
Residents Association in Harare have raised concerns over Emmerson Mnangagwa's silence on the Cheda Commission report 5 months after it was handed to his office. The commission, led by former High Court Judge Justice Mafios Cheda, investigated corruption and mismanagement at Harare City Council dating back to 2017. Testimonies exposed abuse of funds and shady property deals that turned the city into a cash machine for some officials. Critics say this is part of a wider pattern, pointing to other reports that were never acted on, including the Uchena Commission on Land Scandals and the Motlanthe Commission into the 2018 post-election violence, whose full findings remain unpublished. As cases of suspected ritual killings surge, police in Bare are investigating a gruesome murder after the body of an unidentified man was discovered in a pumpkin field near the Mukuvisi River in Matapi, Harare. Authorities reported that the body was covered with a cloth. The left leg had been severely mutilated, with flesh missing from the thigh bone to the foot. The right leg and chest also bore multiple wounds, while parts of the scalp had been stripped of hair. The body was taken to Parirenyatwa Hospital mortuary for a post-mortem examination as investigations into the suspected ritual killing continue. The Health Ministry has blamed Western sanctions for the collapse of Zimbabwe's once thriving pharmaceutical industry. Speaking in Parliament, Deputy Health Minister Slayman Kwidini cited companies like Dat Labs and Caps Pharmaceuticals as victims, saying, drug supply problems began after sanctions and noting government efforts to find alternative suppliers, though counterfeit medicine risks remain. Critics, however, argue that years of mismanagement and corruption have done more damage than sanctions, with many health institutions struggling despite public funding. The Transport Ministry has launched nationwide consultations on the proposed Road Accident Fund Bill, aiming to provide no-fault compensation and immediate support for road accident victims. Critics question its effectiveness, citing existing levies that rarely benefit citizens, limited hospital emergency capacity, and the underuse of air ambulances. The family of the late miner Fungai Nhau, who was tragically killed by a Chinese national in Makaha, has expressed deep dissatisfaction with the compensation offered. Relatives say the amount falls far short of what is needed to sustain the family's daily needs and secure the children's education. Critics have also pointed to the government's silence, arguing that authorities have failed to respond in a timely manner or deliver a sense of justice. Advocates say that beyond monetary compensation, proper support should include medical care, educational assistance, and ongoing welfare support to prevent the tragedy from leaving the family destitute. Let's hear from the late Fungai Nau's wife.
4,500 people. Sister, so to far. So that's the now I'm going to see happy. I'm not happy. And it's so far. Because in Mario Yiga, kana kutitia mkazi atange project. Atina project ya Antombo Tangapa. Kana ka 4,500. Inini mwana wanga anaenda kuchukua pa gore ndinobhadhira 1,000. Ye mwana 1,000. Uyu mwana ane 2 years uyu asati atanga chikoro. Uyu mwana uyu ane 7 years uyu ari grade 3. Ari mu form 1, ari mu form 1 ada 400 mukomanda kubva kuma uniform kuti atange form 1. Yese ndokwana gore 1 yese apa akuzi amene koko zvionere kuti mabreak anongotambira zvese. Tiri kutorwadziwa isisu. Tiri kutorwadziwa kuti mabreak amuzive bamuri madofo. Munongotambira zvo tataura zvo ndizvo. Tatambira hedu. Tatambira ndizvo atingarambe wedu achauya tipichira. Vanhu vatema machaina munongwana naba. Munonzwana naba nemachaina anzwisise because anototi imbavha tapfura anofanira kupfa. Imbavha yangatotibira. Saka anofanira kupfura.
Meanwhile, the Chinese embassy in Zimbabwe has warned its nationals to exercise caution in investments and business dealings. In a statement on its official X account, the embassy urged investors to carefully assess political, economic, and social risks, including local customs and potential disputes. It advised avoiding ventures that could spark controversies, a move that has raised concern in government circles. Former opposition leader advocate Innocent Gonese believes a new movement led by young people free from the influence of old and tired opposition figures could win elections in Zimbabwe even without electoral reforms. However, political analysts caution that genuine democratic elections require reforms to address ZEC biases, political violence, and voter repression. Let's hear Mr. Gonese as he speaks.
Given your experience so far, do you think that elections without reforms in Zimbabwe would yield an acceptable result?
Yes and no. I would say yes if there's unity of purpose. If all people put their hands on the deck, if all Zimbabweans were to come under the banner of some strong movement, yes, it can happen. It almost happened in 2008, but they interfered. But to me, in 2008 itself, if there had been no split in 2005, I have no doubt in my mind that they would not have been able to do any gerrymandering to prevent or to circumvent the will of the people. But the movement itself in 2008 had been weakened 3 years before. And unfortunately, towards the elections, there were moves to try to get the two MDCs to contest as one, which failed. So to me, obviously, there will be divisions. And those divisions are really our problem. So to me, yes, if all the conditions are met. No, if you are looking at the context in which we are, I don't foresee, because you see I've heard some clamoring for people to come together and so on. Where there is no meeting of the minds, it will not work. So as it stands, apart from the infiltration, apart from the interference, I think that the opposition leaders themselves, especially the ones who are trying to continue with something which they've already failed to do, I think they should do the honorable thing. If they could stand down and then perhaps allow younger people, people who don't have, baggage behind them, people who have not been compromised previously, people who still have got or who have got the goodwill where people can really identify with them. But right now, if you look at it, I will not mention names, but I'll just tell you that as a matter of principle, most of the leaders who have been at the forefront of the opposition have lost credibility with the majority of the people. And as such, it is difficult for me to fathom a scenario where any of them will be able to unite the opposition.
Tichaona Mukandiwona, a survivor of Sunday's Limpopo bus disaster, says the bus malfunctioned while speeding around a curve before plunging off a cliff. Authorities also found the vehicle was overloaded with medication, underscoring the extreme risks citizens take to survive amid widespread negligence. In economic news, the Medical and Dental Private Practitioners of Zimbabwe Association has launched a drive to strengthen its membership, urging doctors and dentists to unite under one voice. Association President Dr. Johannes Marisa says unity is crucial in tackling challenges like high regulatory fees and council rates. MDPPZA also continues community work, including donations to an old people's home in Highfield and healthcare support through the Muduri Rehabilitation and Empowerment Foundation. And in news from local communities, 13-year-old Adrian Gurumbadza of St. Joseph's Primary in Mutare has tragically died after battling cancer just days after completing his grade 7 exams. The young boy's death exposes a glaring failure in Zimbabwe's health system as the hospital lacked essential cancer medication and equipment. Despite multiple visits from Auxilia Mnangagwa, patron of the Ministry of Health, no meaningful action was taken. Critics say the tragedy highlights the government's ongoing neglect in equipping hospitals and supporting critical health services, leaving vulnerable patients like Adrian to suffer. Adrian was laid to rest at Yeovil Cemetery in Mutare. May his dear soul rest in eternal peace. A 36-year-old man, Gibson Lovu of Tlodlo village in Chipinge, was mauled to death by a hippopotamus while fishing in the Save River. Gibson and his brother were fishing in a deeper part of the river when the hippopotamus charged. His brother escaped, but Gibson was bitten and he drowned. Officials from the Zimbabwe National Parks and Wildlife Management Authority confirmed he was dead on arrival. Botol Chigweshe, a teacher at Derembwe Primary School in Zimunya, Mutare, was found dead in his school apartment on Sunday evening. Police say Chigweshe had gone to bed intoxicated on Saturday, and his death was discovered after his housemaid heard unusual noises and alerted a fellow teacher. And in international news, Mali has introduced a new visa policy requiring U.S. citizens to post a bond of up to $10,000, mirroring a previous U.S. measure targeting Malian nationals. The government says the move promotes diplomatic reciprocity, citing the U.S. bond system as discriminatory. The new policy is expected to affect business, tourism, and U.S. interests in Mali's mining sector, reflecting a wider trend in West Africa of responding to perceived double standards in U.S. visa policies. And finally, in sports news, Zimbabwe closed their 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers Group C campaign with a 1-0 loss to Lesotho at Peter Mokaba Stadium in South Africa, finishing the group stage without a single win. Meanwhile, the Zambian government has suspended financial backing for the senior men's national team Chipolopolo following a series of disappointing results in the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers. And to end this news bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Senator Timba demands forensic audit over $3.2 billion looting allegations. Residents raise concerns over Mnangagwa's silence on Cheda Commission report. And men found dead in Matapi with missing flesh in suspected ritual killing. And that concludes our bulletin for the day. We thank you for listening. From myself, Divine Nambira, and the entire team at Change Radio, we wish you a blessed night.